Good morning, ATD family. It's been a 2 week hiatus, but we are back. We are excited. Bill and I were like last week, we wanted to do this, and I was like, I can't. I just can't. Got stuff going on. We can't make it happen. But it is a beautiful Saturday. It is a perfect day for baseball, and it is ATD here for another episode, bringing you everything that's going on in the league. And we got some very sad topics to talk about later on for some teams that probably have no shot at the during the season. But we want to talk about it. We don't want to just leave them out in the lurch. We want to make sure they get some recognition. So we're going to start this off as we always do. Baseball Bill, how are you doing on this beautiful Saturday?
I'm doing great, man. You're making me laugh talking about sad topics, but you're right. Once we get to our topics, people are going to look and go, "Oh, oh."
Yeah.
So I get it. I'm great though. I listen. We had a virtual event this weekend or this week that was amazing. We went to Anaheim Stadium. Tough End Rivalry had a suite last night. Invited 10 of our closest friends with us. Had a great time. I mean, it's been a great baseball weekend.
Oh yeah, and you mentioned that virtual event you hosted on when that TFR hosted on Wednesday, and
Yeah.
man, oh man, I was lucky enough to be a part of it, and it was incredible. Bill has some of the best baseball connections in the world, and to bring on a vet that he brought on to talk to the TFR family and the community, share his insight, share his feedback, and what he thinks of what's going on in the league, what's good, what's bad, what's ugly. It was such an incredible story. And just to hear the stories he had from his time in the game, man, oh man, chef's kiss to him. Let me tell you.
Thank you.
Let me tell you. We got some great new sponsors we're bringing you this week. Well, two new, one old, but we got to give them some love because they allow us to do what we do.
We're making
Continue.
you hungry this morning. That's what
I
we're
mean,
doing.
I'm starving just looking at these guys. But they give us the ability to do what we do so we can bring you, the fans, what we love to talk about, which is baseball. So I'm going to start it off. We got to thank Ruby's Diner out there in the OC on the PCH. They are always serving up amazing food. They got that great rooftop deck that overlooks the ocean. And man, oh man, if you are there, grab a burger, grab a milkshake. It is an awesome, awesome experience to be there. And we got some new sponsors we're showing today. So, Bill, take me through these new sponsors we're highlighting.
The OC Local is a company that owns several different things. They own a place called the OC Tap Room, but the pizza store right there in Alicia in Laguna Hills has been a sponsor of ours. They got great pizza. You can buy by the slice, Sam. You can buy by the whole pie. They've got amazing Greek salad or Mediterranean salad that Amber loves. I love their Caesar salad. It's just a great place to eat something and enjoy
Can
yourself.
can it compete with New York pizza, though? Can it
I think
compete
so.
with New York
I think
pizza?
so.
Well, next time
So
I'm in LA, you're gonna have to take me there so I can really give it the grade it deserves. Being the New
absolutely.
York local, Jersey local that I am.
That listen, down the road, there's some folks that are from New York that have a pizza place that I've been to, and you know, the pizza store, pizza. Once you're done having pizza, you got to get some ice cream. So you got to head over to Handles. Handles is nationwide, but our sponsor, we want to thank Keith Kessler and everything that he does. They own 8 or 9 locations throughout Southern California. At one point, they ended up not making this happen because of some city issues. But at one point, they were going to take the Kelly McGillis house, Charlie's house from Top Gun, the
Uh,
original Top Gun, and
yeah.
convert it into a Handles location.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was
I would
awesome.
love to
So,
go to that location, man.
ah,
Why didn't they should move forward with that one. They're losing out. They're missing. They're
there
missing
you go.
something. But again, we got to thank our sponsors for giving us the support and love that they give us all the time so we can bring you baseball fans the best baseball insight in the world. So we're going
In
to
the
talk about
world.
what's going on in the American League. Checking out the American League, let's give you some updates as it's been 2 weeks. Yankees are still riding high, 30 and 20 with 7 and 3 in their last 10. Red Sox and Blue Jays Both 500 right now. Pretty shocking to see these guys both at 500. Well, not shocking, but kind of crazy to see them both at 500. 26 and 26 for the Reds, 25 and 25 for the Blue Jays. Rays 24 and 26, just missing off on that 500 mark, but riding hard in fourth place, trying to make some moves. And the Orioles, who we will talk about later, still sitting in last, 16 and 33. A lot of changes happened on that team in the last 2 weeks that we are going to get into. Moving over into the Central, the Tigers are still leading the pack in all of baseball, 33 and 19, 6 and 4 in their last 10. Guardians 28 and 22, as well as the Twins. Royals 28 and 24. Don't sleep on them. I'm telling you, these guys, they're starting to catch their stride, and I see them really, taking some leaps in the next week or two. White Sox, I feel like every year we talk about the White Sox being in last place. So, I mean, unfortunately, it's not something that we're unaccustomed to, but they are 16 and 35, sitting in that bottom spot, 16 and a half games out of first. As we move into the West, this is where things get interesting. Mariners are still riding on that leaderboard over the last 3 weeks with 29 and 21. Astros 26 and 25. They're inching their way up. Keep an eye on them. Angels 500 record at 25 and 25. Rangers 25 and 27. And the it should say the Athletics, but does say the Angels. So if you're watching this on YouTube, that's my blunder for the week. But the Athletics are 22 and 30, 0 in 10 in their last 10 games. Because of that, we had to give them love and make them the background on the page this morning.
You
Bill,
guys, if you guys can't see this if you're not watching on YouTube. If you're listening to it on Bleach Brothers Radio Network, uh, Sam's face was just awesome when he was reading that. I just noticed it, everybody, when he was
I
reading it, his face was
I
like,
do have to hold you a bit accountable. You're supposed to be my second set of eyes when we do the preview on the show.
I look next week, I promise. But your face was awesome when you
I was
saw
like,
that.
oh, what? What's going on here? Oh man, I messed that one up. But yes, Angels are 20 and 25 and 25. Athletics are 22 and 30.
Mhm.
That is what the standings are. I will get this
Yep.
updated as quickly as I can. But Bill, what are your
Yep.
thoughts on the AL right now?
Uh, the East is surprising to me because you actually have all five teams in the East that are going to be competitive, and we'll talk about the Orioles a little bit later. But the Rays are still hanging around 50 games into it, which is great. The Central or the Tigers are just saying, hold our Gatorade, and we're just going to keep playing this game. The Guardians are right there, though, and the Tigers have a tough schedule coming up, as do the Guardians. The Guardians get a chance to play the America's team on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, play the Dodgers. So we'll see how that plays itself out. Yeah. Sam, everybody, I just wanted to say that just to get a reaction from Sam. It was awesome. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is great. The AL
Not
West,
watching this on YouTube and just listening to this on Bleacher Brothers, I strongly suggest one of these times you go check us out on YouTube on
check it
Top of
out.
Memories YouTube page because the looks that I give to Bill when he brings up America's team is, yeah, I can't
Is
even say it
epic,
because it's just
epic.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So, so the West though has gotten wild. It really has. The Angels are riding an 8 game winning streak right now, which has made them 500. Like I said, I was at the stadium last night. It was more full than it has been before. There seems to be a little bit more of a vibe right now with the Angels. They're finally hitting. Their young guys are starting to hit. It was not a sellout, but again, they were playing the Miami Marlins, which is not a huge draw. But the Angels just swept the Dodgers, and then they swept the Athletics, and now they're playing the Marlins. So they've got a chance to maybe pick up as many as a 10 game winning streak, which is phenomenal for them. So that's good news. The vibe in the stadium was a lot different than the vibe has been in the past.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine. It's funny. I was talking to an athletics fan yesterday. Um, Grew up right outside, right outside Oakland. Grew up a A's fan, and moved to San Francisco. Then kind of is like in this like in between phase. He doesn't know what to do. But the one thing he says is that he has no support right now for the Athletics. Why? Ownership, 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 ownership.
Mhm.
That ownership team needs to do something. It might be time to sell. You're losing the fan base. You're already moving to Vegas. At this point, might as well cut your losses and let the fans get someone new in there to just kind of maybe turn the team around. There's
Yeah,
potential in that team. You just got to find the right ownership group behind them to allow them to be successful, allow the fan base to have some excitement in the team again.
yeah,
So, you know, look, I also saw a report. The Athletics, they're already done with Sacramento. They hate the stadium. They hate the ballpark. They're not feeling it. They're not getting good vibes from it. We might be seeing the Athletics halfway through this season move into a new ballpark and make that their new home for the next 6 months. Who knows? But American League, it's a pretty wild one, specifically in the West. So we will keep an eye on this AL as we do
yeah.
with both the AL and the NL. But Bill, take me through this National League.
Yep. The East is an interesting beast. Obviously, the Phillies are 9-1 in their last 10 games. They have the best record in baseball, believe it or not. The Mets are 4-6 in their last 10, including losing to the Dodgers last night.
And
In
a nail
yeah,
biter. Don't
I
make it.
know that's what I was going to say. I was going to say in a wild game last night, not a blowout by any way, shape, or form. Very wild game. The elements came into play there. The Braves are hitting their stride. Spencer Strider is back. Acuna is back. You can't sleep on the Nationals. The That's just a great team over there. They're young. They may not make a lot of splashes this season, but they will um, coming up in the following seasons. I watched the Marlins last night, obviously at Anaheim Stadium. I didn't recognize anybody in the lineup. It's a group of young kids, but they're doing it well. The Cubs are still scoring insane amounts of runs and putting people through the ringer. The Cardinals have gotten hot, hot, hot. Reds and Brewers have slowed down a little bit, although that's, we'll see how that long that lasts. Pirates are doing what the Pirates do, which is a little surprising to me because I thought they would be a little bit better. Over to the Wild Wild West, the Dodgers now have a 2-game lead over the Giants. The Padres finally won last night for the first time. They were on a 6 or 7 game losing streak. It was like first time in a week and a half, calendar wise, that they had actually won a game. The Diamondbacks are still fighting it through. The Rockies, I'm going to save that for a second, but the Rockies are currently on pace to lose more games than the White Sox did last year. So the division I think to watch is, believe it or not the West. It's going to be the Central because you have 3 dominant teams in the West, and they're just going to be bouncing back and forth. The Central is up for grabs between those 4 teams: the Cardinals, the Cubs, the Reds, and the Brewers.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It was crazy. Ronald Acuna came back last night in his first game for the Braves, and in his first pitch, cranked a homer. And when I say cranked a homer, I don't mean like this was like a little league homer. I mean he demolished that ball. That
Oh
ball
yeah,
was
yeah, I saw it.
so hard in almost any other ballpark. That thing could have been out of the ballpark. He was like, I'm coming back, I'm making a statement, and I'm putting my foot down. Because
Yeah,
we are going to come back and we are going to get our stride back.
yeah,
Uh, but Phillies, man, those Phillies in those last 9 games have really turned it around. And I think the Mets going through the struggles they've gone through in the last couple of weeks have been the reason why the Phillies have been able to take advantage of it, taking the lead spot over the Mets. When we look at the Central, yeah, man, those Cubs, they are still doing Cub things, but you got tough teams in that Central Division. Cardinals are not a team to sleep on anymore like they were in the past, like 2 years. Reds are starting to really get their stride together. Same with the Brewers. And I couldn't agree more with you on those Pirates. I had such high expectations for the Pirates this year. I was expecting them to really be in the thick of it, and they are just not putting the pieces together. I've already seen possible trade scenarios to let Skeens walk. And to say that you're going to let Skeens walk for is a pretty hard thing to have to say to your fan base. Now, granted, the trade you're going to have to make for Skeens is going to have to be your top, at least top 3 prospects. There's no question about it. Regardless of how you swing it, the Pirates are not going to trade Skeens away unless they're getting absolute value for him. So Be interesting to watch how Skeens plays out as we get closer to the trade deadline. Moving into the West, Dodgers are still riding high on that, but as you said, Bill, you got the Giants and the Padres nipping at their heels, and they've been doing it since the start of the season. They have been keeping the Dodgers on their toes all year long. So as we start to get more into those NL West division games, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how these teams really go against each other with how good they've all been playing. Yeah, you got some teams that have been struggling here and there. The Giants went on a couple of game losing streaks. The Padres just went on a 7 game bender of losses. Dodgers getting swept by the Angels, which I think was a shock for the entire league. But again, it just kind of goes to show how good the league is getting and how good these young guys are doing coming up and playing well. So it's gonna be really interesting to watch how this NL West plays out, and that's not just me being a homer, but a baseball purist. The NL West is like fun to watch. It's super fun to watch right now. And throw the D-backs in there. Yeah, D-backs are 6 games back, but they are making great plays, playing strong baseball when it counts, and winning in games that they need to win. And more importantly, winning series they need to win, which is the most important thing.
Yep,
Uh,
100%.
so yeah, this NL National League is insane. We're gonna keep track of it just like we do the AL and like we do of all 30 baseball teams. So that's why you got to keep checking this out. That's why you got to stay with ATD and you got to stay with
ATD.
TFR because we are on top of everything that's going on in the league. We got to talk about this injury report because you said it in the pre-show. It is just growing and growing the number of players we're seeing out for the season. And we got some big names on this list this week if you're listening to this on Bleacher Brothers Radio. Ben Joyce out for the season over there in Anaheim with a shoulder injury. Shane Bieber's out until the beginning of July with an elbow injury. Drew Smith for the Mets is going to be a hard one for that team over there in Queens, out until the beginning of September. So there's a possibility he might not even like if his rehab doesn't go well, he might not even make the postseason roster if they make it. And then probably the biggest one on this list, in my opinion, Garrett Cole out for the season, elbow injury. Huge, huge loss for that Yankees team that's leading in the AL East. But man, oh man, that one is hard on that rotation to be out on. Bill, what about the last four we got on this list?
Cabrera's ankle injury was tough to watch. I saw the replays. I didn't see it live, but I was getting text messages like crazy. I saw the replays. It was tough. Joe Musgrove is out for the season. That hurts the Padres for sure. Tristan Kotsis for the Red Sox. That's tough as well, and so is Jared Jones for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah,
When we start saying out for the season, it doesn't seem to be like a ton of things, but you're talking over 100 games. We're not even halfway through the season yet.
yep,
So these are going to hurt a lot of these guys. And listen to some of the teams. Listen to the teams that are represented here. You're talking the Angels, the Guardians, the Mets, the Yankees, the Padres, the Red Sox, and the Pirates. Of those teams, the Pirates may not make a run for the playoffs, and the Angels may or may not, depending on how lights out they continue to play. But now you look at it and you say, well, gee, the Guardians, the Mets, the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Padres are all playoff contending teams, and they're going to miss a big chunk. So
yeah. What's the most impactful injury on this list, you think? I mean, I said Garrett Cole, but do you think it's anything different than that?
Ben Joyce,
Yeah,
if the Angels want to compete, that's their closer that throws 105 miles an hour.
yeah.
Um, and that is a huge loss for them. The most emotional loss on here is Cabrera. If you saw that injury a week and a half or so ago and him getting taken off in an ambulance and things, it was bad. It was bad,
Yeah,
bad, bad, bad.
it's never good when a guy especially a position player, goes out with an injury like that. And we also have to remember these are players. They're not just players, they're people. So this isn't just impacting their professional career, this is impacting their personal career. There's a lot that they have to do in their personal lives that these guys aren't able to do now because they have rehab stints. They have to put in more time, maybe not on the road, but at home, getting themselves back up and running, getting themselves ready to go, getting the feelings back that they had prior to the injury. So, I mean, no injury is ever good, short term or long term, but when you see these out for the season ones, it always makes you think, well, if they're out for the season now, how is this going to impact them next year? And if not next year, how's it going to impact them the year after that? You get a guy like Garrett Cole with an elbow injury, probably going in for Tommy John, and all of a sudden you're like, well, he's going to be out 18 months. That 18 months could easily turn into 24. And that 24 months could turn into his career. Because coming back from Tommy John, while a lot of players do it, is not an easy thing to come back from. You're never the same. You just aren't. Your entire mechanics around your throw changes drastically.
I
So,
agree.
the pitching ones, I am always really, they always touch my heart because of how impactful it is to the role they play on the team. But again, going back to Oswaldo Cabrera, that ankle injury, man, oh man, we might not see him run like we've seen him run previously. And that's going to drastically hurt how he is looked at as a player, not just in his current contract, but in future contracts that come up for him.
Yeah,
So keep an eye here. We will keep track of all the major injuries that are coming out in the league. But while we talk about injuries, we got to thank our sponsors again because we can't do what we do without them. The pizza store down there in Southern California, run by OC Local. I'm gonna get out there. I'm gonna try that pizza. I promise you, when I do, I will bring you back my feedback on if it's as good as New York or not. But from what I hear, according to Bill, it is in close competition. So we gotta get out there and we gotta taste
gotta
it.
check it out.
And then Ruby's Diner, Bill, talk to me about because I know it's a place in your heart that you love.
Yeah, so Ruby's Diner is amazing. It's your typical 50s diner. It's got great food. It's got a great rooftop that you can actually lease out. In fact, Sam, there might be an announcement coming in July of another movie that we're going to do, but we're going to combine it with the local community, not just the TFR community. But Ruby's over there, and Ned and his crew are just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and then you got Handel's Ice Cream, nationwide location, but we gotta love the guys down there in the Southern California region that really are the ones that support us and allow us to do what we love. Handel's Ice Cream has been around since 1945 and they do exceptional work. The ice cream is unbelievable. If you're near Handel's location, make sure you go there, make sure you check it out. But if you are specifically in the Southern California region, make sure you go to one of the local locations from our local sponsors there and give them the love that they deserve because they allow us to do what we do so we can bring you what you want to hear. And that's all the best baseball news in the business.
Correct.
Let's talk about the stolen base count. It's been 2 weeks since we've done this, and we have a big increase in stolen bases since the last time. When we did the show last time on May 10th, we had 928 stolen bases. We are on the cusp of 1,200 stolen bases in the last 2 weeks, 263 stolen bases over a 2 week period. So we're averaging about 131 and a half stolen bases. I don't know where you get a half stolen base from, but that's how you average it out. O'Neal Cruz and Lubob are leading the pack. Again, we've talked about this before. Basically, when Lubob gets on base, if you're a catcher or a pitcher, expect him to steal because that's what he's
Mhm.
going to do. When he touches the bat, when he touches first, he's running to second, no matter what. So you've got a pretty good chance of either not getting him out or getting him out on the steal. Just that's it. If you're that's all you gotta do with Lubob. Just watch him on the base path. Bobby Wood Jr. in second place. I'm telling you, this kid might not be in the home run leader count, but in my opinion, has the ability, based on what he is doing right now, to be AL MVP. This kid is so good and so young. Just being able to watch his growth year over year and for years to come is going to be incredible. Ellie De La Cruz staying on the leaderboard, Superman as I like to call him, with 16 stolen bases, and then Jose Caballero from Tampa Bay Rays with 15 stolen bases, rounding out that top five. Bill, we talk about it every week. Do you think we're going to beat
Yes,
3,600?
I do. I do think we're going to be 36, 100. Guys are moving a lot more, and there's going to be a guy that you're going to see on this list. I guarantee you'll see him on this list soon, and that is Victor Scott III out in St. Louis. This kid can run, young kid, and he can run.
Yeah. Do you think we might see a Ronald Acuna on this list now that he's back in the league?
No, no, he's too far behind.
We
He's
know what
too
he
far.
can do on the base pass. Remember, he did have that 70 stolen base season. So I'm sure he's going to take advantage every time he gets on first or second to steal a base when he can. He's going to take every opportunity that comes his way.
Agree.
Let's talk about this home run leaderboard though. Let's talk
Okay.
about it.
Cal Riley, Arson, Aaron Judge, Kyle Schwarber, and Shohei, all at 17. Corbin Carroll, a little surprising, adding a little pop to his bat at 15. Since Sam and I did this last or 2 weeks ago, there's been 439 dingers hit. It's starting to heat up, um, starting to heat up quite a bit. And so you're going to see weeks where we might have 200, 250. But Sam, we got a big nut to crack. If we're going to break the record, which is 2023 at 56.68 or 58.68, we got to start cranking it out. There is a number from last year, 54.53. Sammy, what do you think? Do we beat either one of these records?
I think looking at where we are now and knowing that we're getting into the dog day, we're gonna start getting into the dog days of summer. It's gonna get warmer. The humidity is gonna help with the ball. The heat's gonna help get the pop off the ball. I think we're gonna break that 5,400 mark. I feel pretty
Okay.
confident about it. 58, I think we got off to too slow of a start in the beginning of the season to help push that 5,800 number.
Sure.
Again, when we had the 5,800 number, that was when the pitch clock came into play and
Right.
the batters were taking advantage of it on the pitchers. Now that we are 3 years in, 2.5 years into it, and pitchers and batters have started to really understand and balance themselves out. I think it's gonna be really tough for us to get to that 5,800 number
Okay.
unless in that first 2 to 3 weeks of the season they make a dent in the home run count. Like a huge, huge dent. They gotta be putting up 250, 300 home runs in that first month of the season, like we saw back in 2023. So, do I think we'll break 5,400? Yes. Do I think we'll break 5,800? No.
I
That's
can
my
see that.
opinion on it.
I can see that.
If you don't like it, keep it to yourself. If you DM me, it's going into the filing cabinet. It's not going to be looked at because that's my opinion. I'm allowed to have it.
There you
The,
go.
let's get into the topics that we have for this week because, like we said, we had some sad topics to talk about, but we can't leave all the sad topics to the wayside. We got to talk about them because they're still topics.
Right.
There Let's talk about the Mile High City with their Mile High problems.
Hmm.
I did a quick search this morning on our good friend ChatGPT because I wanted to see what ChatGPT had to say about it.
Okay.
ChatGPT predicts with the current record that the Rockies have, they will end the season with the worst record in baseball of all time. Of
Okay.
all time. 26 wins and 136 losses. Just keep that in mind. 136 losses. That means they will lose more than two-thirds of the games they play in a season. If you are a Rockies fan, how do you get behind this team? How do you go to the stadium and sit there knowing that you have got a better chance of losing than you do of winning?
Right.
Like, that's tough. You
Go
know,
ahead.
let's just go through some of the numbers real quick. Let's
Yeah.
talk. They're 9-42 currently. They have scored 167 runs. Sounds great, right? You would think 167 runs, that's a great number. Would you agree, Bill? You think it's a good number?
I do. I do agree it.
But then you have to look at the runs they've allowed. They have allowed more runs in baseball than any other team, with 325 runs allowed. That is insane. That is an insane number to allow. I mean, you're almost at half of the number of runs scored that they've allowed in the game. They have 158 runs scored to allow differential negative. They are 6-20 at home. They are 3-22 on the road. And when it comes to teams that are above 500, they are 4-26. Bill, how do you get behind this team?
Somebody asked me the other day if you go to ballparks to watch a specific player or if you go to watch um, if you go to watch a specific player or if you go to watch the team as a whole. And I say you go to watch the team as a whole. We were talking about how sometimes teams aren't totally honest with people's injuries, right? Oh, this person, Mike Trout's on the 10-day IL, but he hasn't played since the beginning of the month, right? So it's been 20 some odd days since Mike Trout's played, right? And he did some calisthenics and some stretching yesterday, and they're hoping to have him back in the next week or two. Well, that's not a 10-day IL stint. That's, he was out for 30 days.
Yep.
Um, so the answer is you go watch the team. The problem is when your team is this bad, now you're just going to the ballpark to hang out with your friends. Maybe they've got some good food there or whatever, and so you want that experience. Diehard fans will still support their team, but there's nothing to get excited about. I mean, you're talking about a run differential of negative 158. That is a big run differential. They are 3-22 on the road. 3-22. I mean, that's awful. Awful. 25 games and you win three of them. So I don't know. True fans are still going to support it, but you're going to see attendance dwindle. You're going to see big, big problems in Colorado. And unfortunately, Colorado's stadium is one that's just a launching pad. Makes it hard for pitchers, A, to be there. The They signed Chris Bryant to this huge contract and he's not even playing. So they got a lot of recruiting to do, a lot of things that they've got to turn around in Colorado to make their team a lot more successful.
Yeah, I
They got
mean,
to do it quick.
no, and you're 1,000% right. I mean, look, in the last 2 weeks, they fired their manager. They're running on their third base. They're running on their, I think it's their hitting coach as their skipper. I mean, how how do you recruit guys to a team like this?
You got to recruit them in pairs. So you got to recruit a good pitcher and a good hitter, or you've got and you've got to be willing to. The hard part is economics, right? So your economics is simple. Your TV contract is going to be nowhere near. Um, your TV contract is going to be nowhere near what you're going to get in a big market, right? So, but you got to be able to open your wallet and sign the next hot free agent. Corbin, I was thinking of Corbin Burns, but he just signed, but you got to sign a guy like a Corbin Burns to a 5-year, $300 million contract. Open your wallet and expect that has to happen, right?
Yeah,
If you don't, then you're going to always be mediocre and you're going to lose your fan base and you're going to lose a lot of money, a
yeah,
lot of money.
couldn't agree more. Do you know, we talk about the team, but let's take a second and step back and look at the front office. Is there a front office problem that's causing all of this chaos? Do they need to maybe do some ownership? Does ownership need to look at what they're doing and say maybe we need to try to find someone else to come in here and be a support for us that we can use as like an additional launch pad.
So,
Uh, you
so
know,
you got to catch 22, Sam. I'm going to turn this around on you and ask you this. You're the owner of the Colorado Rockies right now, right? You've got a TV deal worth X dollars. You've got a payroll. You've got a staff. You've got stadium staff. You've got, all these expenses. Let's say you're going to be out the door this year, and I'm just making a number up. You're going to be out the door $250 million this year, $250 million. Okay. And the team is not playing well on the field, which that has nothing to do with you. You don't you don't get out there, you don't pitch, you don't hit, none of that stuff, right? But this is the product that you put on the field. Now you're looking at projections and numbers and looking and saying, I got a $250 million nut to crack. Yet it looks like I'm only going to bring in 227 million this year. Looks like I'm going to lose 23 million. As an owner, what do you do?
no, you make a really valid point. And I think part of it, again, yes, as the front office, you're not the ones that are on the field. You're not the ones playing. You have to trust the guys that you're putting into these positions to play at a high level. But there's always this stigma that whatever is that when the worry is coming from the front office, it's going to trickle down and it's going
Mhm.
to impact the way the players play. And when I'm looking at the Rockies front office, they really haven't made many changes in that ownership group in bringing in new exciting people that can help kind of liven up that front office staff to help trickle
Mhm.
it down to the players and give them some excitement. I mean, look, I'll use my team as an example. Buster Posey retired, they made him a minority owner. Buster Posey then said going into this year, I want the wheels. I want the helm. I want the responsibility. Put it on my shoulders. So now you got a guy that not only is part of that ownership group, so he knows what they're feeling, but now is in charge of all the baseball operations and can relay how, can kind of bring some stigma to the fan base and to the players on the field to help them keep that energy high. So I think I agree with you. It's a catch 22. How do you balance that out? But I think with when you're in the Mile High City, look, you have legends in the Mile High City outside of baseball that if you're a good ownership group, you should be going and recruiting these guys and saying, if you invest in us, we're going to give you say in what goes on to the field. We're not going to leave you out in the lurch.
But
You
how
got
much money are you going to
Peyton Manning,
lose?
a guy like John Elway. You got guys in the football community out there that could easily come in, be huge assets in financial responsibilities to the organization, but also be additional recruiting capabilities to this organization to say, I'm coming in here not only as an owner, but as someone that wants to change the way baseball is looked at in Denver. So I
Well,
agree. It's a catch
the
22,
the the
but you
easiest way to do
gotta open up your mindset.
the easiest way to do it and the cheapest way to do it for the Rockies is you've got to you've got to recruit good college players. You've
Yeah.
got to draft better because if you can draft people that could be ready next season or the next season and a half, and you can combine them with established players, like it's going to take some time, but you've got to sign better.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
Cheapest way to do it.
Let's move into the Orioles real quick. We both had high hopes on this Orioles team going into the season. Like we were both looking at this Orioles team off of what they did last year and said, man, oh man, these guys are going to be tough to compete against with how dominant the AL East is. And they have been far below the expectations that we expected them to be at. Again, they are another team that has fired their head coach in the last 2 weeks. They are 16 and 33. They've allowed 188 runs and they've allowed 287 runs and only scored 188 with a 99 uh, negative differential. They're 8 and 15 home. They're 8 and 18 away, and they're 9 and 26 against teams over 500. With the level of players and the skill players they have on this team, is there any chance that they could turn this around?
Yes. Um, Jackson Halliday and some of those guys over there, the younger guys, Adley Rushman, those guys are turning it around. I watched them play against the Angels a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and they are a lot better team than what people lead on to. I think pulling the trigger and firing their manager might have been a little premature, because a lot of these young kids aren't used to that. But don't be surprised if Baltimore may or may not make the playoffs. They may not turn it around that quick to make the playoffs, but they definitely, I don't think they'll be under 500. I think you're going to start to see some short burst of a 4 game win streak here, a patch where they go 8-2 and 10 or 7-3. I still have very high hopes for Baltimore. Letting
Yeah,
Corbin Burns go though, and not having Kyle Brandish right now is hurting them.
100%. Real quick, last question. With how good these young players are and knowing where they play right on the water, right there in Baltimore. It's a especially in the summer, it gets really hot. The humidity definitely heats up down there. Do you think as we go into the dog days of summer, that's when things will really turn around for this organization and maybe put them into that path of getting closer to the 500 mark?
Yes, yes, and they've got to take advantage of scheduling things. They've got to take advantage when they're playing teams like the Rockies or like the A's who are struggling right now. They've got to take advantage of the teams that are struggling, and then they've got to play 500 or better ball inside of their division.
Couldn't agree more with you on that. It's going to be interesting to see how this Orioles team turns it around, but I think they can. Maybe not to the playoff caliber that we were expecting them to be at, but if they can turn it around going into the summer, into the second half of the season, I think they'll be putting themselves in a really good position to be a team that you relook at going into next year.
Yeah,
And that's what I think at this point they're looking at. They're not
I
looking
agree.
at this year, they're looking at next year. And
I
just
agree.
wanting to get some movement on themselves to
Well,
say, okay, next year's our year.
but keep in mind, they've won playoff berths the last 2 seasons. Does that stop this season? I don't know. Right?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You put a great podcast schedule again
Thank
together
you.
this week, and I mean, I'm not surprised. You like I said, you have some of the best baseball connections in the world, and you bring the best fans onto the podcast to talk about their love of the game. Talk me through the schedule this week.
American League with Ashley on Monday. Uh, Tuesday is Jesse, Mets fan. Have not had her on the podcast yet. It'd be great to have her on. Brianna, who works for the Angels, will be on the podcast on Wednesday. She works in the ticket department. Thursday is Unraveling Baseball with Mike from Heads Up Sports Cards, and Friday is College Kid. Which, by the way, we're starting to talk about the college tourney now,
Yeah.
and the season is ending. And I mean, some of these guys, Sam, I don't know if you listened to College K 2 weeks ago, but I mean, you have some kids who have played 40 games and have 27, 29 home runs. You got kids that have pitched 80 innings and have over 100 strikeouts. Like, these kids are good, really,
Oh
really
yeah.
good.
Oh yeah. And then, as always, make sure you're checking out X every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for It's Sports Talk. It's fan involved. Every week, we talk about every sport that you could possibly think of on X Live. And in the leagues, every Tuesday and Thursday with Baseball Bill, keeping us up to date during the week on what's going on in the league. Series recap this Sunday. Is it this Sunday or is it this Wednesday with Mike?
This Sunday, we're going to
Sunday.
try to do it. It's going to be a little tricky because this Sunday we want to do a series recap, and I got a ton of Mets fans that will do the recap with me. But Sunday night game of the week on ESPN is Dodgers Mets, which means that starts at 4 p.m., 7 p.m. on the East Coast. It's going to get a little late for the East Coasters, but we'll see.
Yeah. Definitely want to check it out though. Those series recaps with Baseball Bill and Mikey Bleeds Blue are always fun. And then we have an awesome card break this coming Monday. When I saw Bill on the website that you had these two boxes on there, I was like, ooh, this is a good one. This is a good one. You got a 2019 Topps Heritage High number, and we got a 2023 Topps Allen and Ginter Blaster box. If you have yet to see what Allen and Ginter puts out, you are missing out. The artwork that comes out on these boxes is so good. It is insane. And the souvenir cards you get in those boxes, the the parallels, the the game day materials, it's all such good quality. Probably one of my favorite products that Topps releases. I always get excited for the new year Allen and Ginter releases. It is one that I unfortunately typically spend lots of money on, and my wife is usually not happy about it. But make sure if you are not involved in the 27 Outs Club, this is a great week to get into it because both of these boxes are exceptional boxes to be a part of. And I can't wait to see what gets pulled out of this 2023 Allen and Ginter box.
100%.
Thank our sponsors as we wrap the show up. Handel's Ice Cream out there nationwide, but specifically in the Southern California region. Make sure you are going out there and supporting, getting some ice cream after you go to the pizza store run by OC Local and get some great pizza from them. It's an awesome place to get some pizza and just hang out. And then Ruby's Diner as well. We can't talk enough about the classic diner feel you get when you walk in there, the great milkshakes, the great food, the rooftop deck that overlooks the PCH and the Pacific Ocean. It is just a beautiful location to be a part of. And we want you again to thank our sponsors for supporting us so we can give you, the baseball fans, what we love to do on a weekly basis, which is talk great baseball. As we wrap the show up, Bill, you have any final comments for the fans out there?
No, go fight, win. I love this.
Hey, it's why we're here. Go fight, win. Thank you so much for checking out ATD this week. As always, make sure you're checking out TopFanRivalry.com for new articles, podcasts, merch. Join the 27 Outs and T-shirt club run by TFR. Join the exclusive member events like the one we just did this past Wednesday. They are incredible events to be a part of, and we want you to join them because they are awesome. And as always, the TFR Fan Fest run every January where we bring the TFR community together and get the opportunity to talk to our fans, talk to sports, talk to baseball fans, share our fan base, share our knowledge, share what we love about the game. It's an awesome event to be at, and we want you to join us every year when we do it. Thank you again so much for joining us this week on ATD, and we will see you on the field next week. Have a good
See you
week.
then. Yep.